Hey everybody, Josh Sigurdson of World Alternative Media here, and we've reported in the past on Chinese bank runs, including just in August when we reported on the massive exodus from peer-to-peer lenders as people lined up down the streets. The peer-to-peer lenders lend out money to consumers usually with little to no collateral. Well, this mixed with the fact that household debt has climbed more than 40% in China in the past year, there's no wonder why there's a lot of panic among those who live there. We will go into the greater ramifications of the story later, but first, I want to dig into this Zero Hedge article. Please bear with me, this article includes a lot of very important information that I want to make sure to mention. I don't want to miss anything. As the article says, bank run in southwestern Chinese city could signal impending financial crisis. And as the article goes into, ever since China's shadow banking sector peaked 2 years ago, one of Beijing's biggest financial and social stability concerns was of widespread out-of-control bank runs, which if left unchecked, could cripple China's massive $35+ trillion financial sector, and which prompted the authorities to launch an aggressive deleveraging campaign targeting China's shadow banks. And while China has had its close encounters with the occasional bank jog, it always succeeded in intercepting them just in time or threatening a crackdown if such behavior persisted. As a result, financial stability was preserved. That may be about to change in what the Epoch Times warns could be the sign of an impending financial crisis. A small local bank in the southwestern Chinese city of Zigong just suffered a bank run. Shareholders of Bank of Zigong in Sichuan province absconded with 30 billion yuan, $5.78 billion, through loans issued to shell companies that they had created, according to a November 2nd post in a Chinese social media account and a report by Dazong, a state-run news website. The loans were long overdue, resulting in huge losses for the bank. Even though the post was deleted within 20 minutes by internet censors, the news spread like wildfire and scores of bank customers rushed to dozens of bank branches in Zigong City to retrieve their deposits, while long lines of people could be seen from photos of the scene and uploaded by netizens. Shortly after, the Zigong City branch of the national bank regulator, China Banking Regulatory Commission, sent out an emergency notice seeking to calm customers. The notice indicated that the Bank of Zigong, which was founded in 2001 and has 32 branches in the city of 1.2 million people, is running normally and has sufficient cash flow for reserve funds. While the local police also announced the arrest of the person who spread the quote-unquote online rumors that didn't stop customers from rushing to the bank. Though the rumors were unconfirmed, the resulting bank run by panicked customers could spell serious trouble. As more customers try to withdraw funds, Bank of Zigong may eventually default. That would have broader repercussions for the Chinese economy, as the Bank of Zigong exemplifies a common situation in many regions across China. Like many economic hubs in China, municipal authorities in Zigong have borrowed large sums from the Bank of Zigong to finance local infrastructure projects. The bank explicitly explains on its website that the institution supports initiatives by the city's Communist Party committee and government authorities such as building projects, city redevelopment, state-owned enterprises reform, and more, according to the Epoch Times. Zigong City, as with many other municipal governments, has set up local investment firms as a popular option to borrow money. But that has led to enormous debts that governments couldn't repay. The Chinese regime recently published rules that allow these investment firms to file for bankruptcy if they don't have the funds to repay their debts, highlighting the severity of the situation. Economists, at least those outside of China, have warned that when the city investment firms go bankrupt, the domino effect on banks that loaned money to them, as well as the private individuals and companies that invested in them, would be detrimental. And I quote, "When city investment firms have no way to repay their debts, the Bank of Zigong will be in a crisis," said Zhao Pi, a current affairs commentator at NTD Television, part of the Epoch Media Group. More ominously, Twitter user Cao Ji, a former professor in Shanghai who now does academic research in Taiwan, said that if there is a bank run at the Bank of Zigong, this means a financial crisis in China will begin from these local small banks. Meanwhile, there are also clues that what was said in the initial social media post that sparked panic may be true. The post listed 3 companies as the bank's majority shareholders: a real estate company, a conglomerate with portfolios in residential development, commercial real estate, and manufacturing equipment, and China Western Power, a firm that manufactures and distributes boilers. China Finance Information, a financial data portal, released a public announcement stating that after China Western Power invested in Bank of Zigong, it became the bank's largest shareholder with a 20% stake. However, according to an October 8th report by the Shenzhen Times newspaper, China Western Power is currently in financial distress due to what else? High levels of debt. As of the end of June, the company's debt-to-asset ratio reached 77.52%, an increase of 10% from the end of 2015. The company also needs to repay 1.01 billion yuan, about $146 million, in loans by year's end and may be unable to meet its obligations. The company's shares have continually fallen since May, and such financial straits would match the claims in the initial social media post. Now, breaking away from the article and taking a breath, the debt crisis in China is stunning to say the least, and the grip over people's personal lives and their monetary needs has become overwhelming for many. Countless people in China are rushing to get their money out of the country, but all the while, the Chinese government is building itself up to be the world's biggest powerhouse. They're working to get countries to stop committing to payments in US dollars and instead using the yuan, including Saudi Arabia. They're buying up countries left and right by loaning more money than those countries can pay back, much like the IMF has done for so long. They're getting citizens to hold gold in anticipation for a massive power shift as the US world reserve currency collapses. The IMF, as a matter of fact, are considering moving their headquarters to Beijing. There is a monetary script playing out, and it involves something on a scale which we have never seen before, utilizing technologies that we never thought possible. It's not a good thing. I'm a firm believer that China will rise up as one of the only surviving dominoes in a global currency crash, starting with the US dollar. They won't last super long, but they'll prosper for a few years, I believe, with the system they've built up for themselves. Heavily centralized, heavily coercive, and nefarious. They are building the world's largest centrally planned cashless society within a very obedient populace and the most populated country in the world, I should add. With social credit scores, people in China will bow down to whatever they are told or lose their ability to eat well, travel, shop, pay bills, be in certain circles, do basically anything. It helps that the culture is very honor-oriented with families. Imagine telling your parents in China that your social credit score had fallen so drastically and it could affect them. Guilt by association. Guess who's on the street? More than likely. People become vastly subservient and accept whatever is thrown their way. With facial recognition, they shall be seen anywhere. Jaywalk? Look up! Your face is on a giant screen shaming you and you're getting a ticket via text message. It's the perfect guinea pig state for total debt servitude in the new system. the New World Order, that which has been plotted out diligently for many decades, with major strides being made with Kissinger's visit with Mao in the 1970s leading to the creation of the Trilateral Commission under Zbigniew Brzezinski in the late 1970s. Everything has come together perfectly, hasn't it? Well, not exactly. China has been battling decentralized cryptocurrencies, giving potential for free markets to win over centralized fiat digital systems. Hard to prop up the SDR when everyone is using their own bank in their own pocket, outside of that system. Besides, this desperation move for a total global centrally planned cashless system is futile long term. All fiat currencies eventually revert to their true value of zero, and currently basically every major bank is bankrupt. The cash to deposit ratios at banks are astonishingly low. Many of the biggest banks have less than 1% of deposits covered in cash. Does that sound like a confident institution to you? Bank runs are becoming a far more real concern, and while they can suppress serious bank runs with digital systems, they cannot suppress the inevitable event of a fiat centralized system reverting to nothing eventually. If your money's in the bank, it's not yours, it's the bank's. And if your money is always going through the banks via digital transactions and legal tender laws, it's never your money, it's always the bank's, and you are essentially enslaved to the government and the banking system, pushing you into perfect servitude to them, right where they want you. So, as these massive moves are made by China, India, Sweden, Australia, and countless other countries desperately moving towards a centralized cashless system to hold up the old guard, eventually they will fail. They must. We will always win. The market will always prevail if we are educated, and even without education, it's hard to stop an idea whose time has come, like decentralized cryptocurrencies and blockchain infrastructure technology that can replace these same systems. Remember, a blockchain, if centralized, can be used to enslave humanity, and a blockchain, if decentralized, can be used to overthrow that which enslaves humanity. We are on the cusp of winning, which is why everything seems so absolutely over the top crazy these days. Worry not. We have the solutions, and we have diverse solutions too. It's not just cryptos, gold and silver, and wealth insurance of your purchasing power. Individualism, self-sustainability, freedom, food, water, shelter, self-defense. We must understand that which has allowed humanity to prevail for so long with no help from the murderous, fraudster crime rackets we call governments and banks. It's all a giant Game of Thrones, and in this chess game, we are simply the pawn, sacrificed for the king and the queen. No longer. We've got control of the game now. While the banking system falls and the bread and circuses die off, as a government begs for our subservience, it's time we slam our fists down and say, checkmate. We win, you lose, we know who you are. You are a shadow on the wall, a shadow that only has power because we believe it has power. Shine a little bit of light on that shadow and it vanishes, and all the little people casting those shadows. The vast coercive collective comes into view. It's just a bunch of people depending on our dependents. They shall get it no more. Rule yourself, folks. Decentralize everything. Educate yourselves. Be responsible, for responsibility is a hallmark of freedom itself. Ensure yourself. Understand that something evil comes our way, and we as individuals can and will prevail. This is only the beginning. Many more bank runs will come. You know what to do to keep yourself safe from it. Stay tuned for more from Wham! This is Josh Sigurdson signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth, be the change. Like what you see here at Wham! Don't forget to check the links below. GoFundMe, Patreon. We can't do it without you. Any donation is very much appreciated, especially as we are so vastly demonetized and censored on YouTube, as these guys come in and flag all of our content as hate speech. Also, check out our Bitcoin address below as well as on the screen for you to scan if you please. And also check us out at steemit.com. We're at Josh Sigurdson. It's a future of social media where you get paid in the upvote of your post in cryptocurrency, Steem that is. So make sure to check us out there. Make sure to join us at Anarchapulco 2019 with people like Ron Paul, G. Edward Griffin, of course, Jeff Berwick, Vid Jedlicka. So many incredible speakers are going to be speaking. It's just a massively growing event. It is something you have to see to believe. So make sure to check it out below and save money on your tickets by using promo code WAM, that's WAM, and I hope to see you there. Also, check out our newsletter as we are getting demonetized and censored and all that. We don't know what comes next, so we have an email, worldalternativemedia@gmail.com. Send us an email with subject line YES, YES, and we will include you in the newsletter where we will continuously keep you updated. So until next time, thanks for watching, everyone. This is Josh Sigurdson signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth, be the change.
I'm sure you have already changed people's minds in your young age because you're involved, and I like that.